The next thing that we're going to add is a text pop-up that's telling which player or each player that it's their turn. So in order to have a text pop-up, we need a UI canvas. This is something that we're going to add next week, but for this bonus step, we're going to add it a little bit early. So if you finish this bonus step next week, when I ask you to create a canvas, you're just going to add a little bit to the canvas we create here. So I'm going to right-click into our hierarchy, select the UI, and then select the canvas option. I'm then going to right-click the canvas, go to UI, and create a second canvas. This is going to be what's called a nested canvas. I'm going to go over in the inspector of our second canvas and delete this canvas scalar component by clicking those three dots and selecting remove component. I'm going to rename this canvas to bonus because it's going to hold all of our bonus UI objects. And then in here, I'm going to right-click and create a text object. UI text right here. I'm going to name this first one player text. And what we want to do is set the width to 500 and the height to 500. We're also going to change our text to say player space, space, space. So 3 spaces, apostrophe S, turn. It's just like that. And if we actually switch over to our game view, we can see this text floating up here in the top left corner. We're going to set our font size to 72 and our alignment on these two alignment options here to centered and centered. And then finally, we want to set our color to white. Then we're going to select our player text in the hierarchy and tap Control D to duplicate this text. And we're going to rename this to number text. And then replace all of the text in our text field with the number 1. And now you see on our screen, it looks like it says player 1's turn. We know that we actually have 2 different text objects here just overlaid, but that's exactly what we want. So what we're going to have our game manager do is turn this bonus canvas on and off, and then swap this player 1 object out with the number associated with whoever's turn it is. So we can disable our bonus game object by just clicking the little check mark next to the name up there, and then opening up our game manager. And what we're going to add at the bottom of our variables here is a public transform player UI object, just like that. So player capital UIO object. We're then going to scroll down and find our StartTurn method right here. And between StartTurn and EndTurn, we're going to add a coroutine. So we're going to say I enumerator turn UI, opening close parentheses, and our curly brackets. Inside here, just to get rid of our red line, we're going to add a yield return new wait 4 seconds 2F. So this is going to stay on screen for 2 seconds. And then above our yield return new, we're going to add a line, and we're going to say player UI object dot get component in children, or I'm sorry, dot find, and then open close parentheses, and in quotation marks, we're going to find that number text object, and we're going to say dot get component text, open and close parentheses, dot text equals player iterator plus 1. Now you're going to notice we get this red underline under our text class here. That's because we need to include the fact that we're using the UI elements in this script. So we're going to scroll up to the top of our game manager, look for this line where it says using Unity Engine, and we're going to write another line and say using Unity Engine.ui, just like that. That's going to get us access to that test value. We also need to drop down to turn UI and put parentheses around player iterator plus 1, and then say .toString. That's going to convert our integers there into strings for our text component. We're then going to say player UI object dot set active, dot game object dot set active to true. And then after our yield return new wait for seconds here, we're going to copy and paste our player UI game object line by highlighting it and tapping controller command C, and then pasting it with controller command V below our yield return new line. We're going to replace the true in our setActive method call to false. Finally, we need to actually call this coroutine, so we're going to go back up into StartTurn, add a line under our last line in the else statement here, and we're going to say start coroutine, open and close parentheses, turn UI, open close parentheses, and semicolon. Once you've got that finished up, go ahead and save your script.